Hi, I'm Andy Bache, Director of Adventure Serve Ministries, and I'm living in a shack for 5 days to represent issues of substandard housing and homelessness. That is a very real thing, both in Jessamine County, in the state of Kentucky, throughout the nation. And this week we are having specific conversations with different individuals to gain more perspectives of these issues. And so I've invited my good friend Lorenzo Villalobos. So tell him who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Lorenzo. I've known Andy for quite some time, and I teach here in Wilmore Elementary. So rewind, I guess. I went to college initially, and then dropped out. Like, I didn't have any guiding compass. I thought I wanted to do nursing. I found out that that really wasn't for me. I was just following some kind of hiccup of society. Like, there was a certain track that I guess, my 2004 graduating class went with, and I was following that and doing the right thing. And then I got suffocated by it. And I guess we'll go into that suffocation here in a little bit. But fast forward through a good 3 years-ish of my life dealing with, couch surfing, homelessness, just lost. Just a period of my time of my life where it was just misdirected, misguided, no lack of passion, lack of desire, lack of really a will. I mean, it was a state of existence, I guess I could say. And then my wife and I met. She was my like, hey, how you doing at the time? Like, not even girlfriend yet. We met, became girlfriend, boyfriend. We met by way of her brother, which was kind of an interesting thing in and of itself. He gave me his blessing, Andrew, rest his soul. Today, actually, December the 3rd, is the anniversary of his death. He's been gone 15 years today.
Wow.
And she and I were talking about that this evening before I came down here.
And so that took place even in the midst of this time frame of wandering and of young adulthood.
Andrew dying marked my my change. I made a decision in that moment to be like, I'm done with my folly. I'm done with my ignorance. I'm changing because I don't want to miss anymore. I don't want to miss any more of this life. It's too quick. It's too fragile. It's too temporary, and I want to harness as much of its beauty as I can.
In a sense, that gives testimony to Andrew's life.
And he would have wanted that. Like, that's how he lived. I mean, he was a couch surfer. Like, Andrew's mantra was just carpe diem. Like, it was seize the day. And he inspired kind of that. Actually, Andrew's group, if you think about it, like Sherpa back in the day, Andrew, Eisenogle, like Harrison, a lot of those guys back in the day were just like, they were vagabonds, man. Yeah. They were roughneckers, and like in Wilmore,
and being a dirtbag was a status symbol. I mean, like,
they were dirtbaggers, like the OG real deal dirtbaggers. And I mean, I'm this like 12-year-old boy, like, going, whoa. They skateboarded, they rock climbed, and they were just like the real deal. And like, I wanted that. And like their lack of conformity to society was just like, it was unapologetic. It was very like MXPX, Rancid, Rage Against the Machine.
So so in a sense, there's creativity, there's value in their
absolutely route. Yeah.
So as you were following that, though, then what happened?
Well,
there's some spinning out.
As you go in that creativity, that the lifestyle of lack of conformity, a lot of times drugs becomes a part-time. And a lot of times alcoholism and drugs and just unhealthy pastimes kind of become the norm. And I found that was becoming a big struggle for myself. Not that I want to say that I became a complete burnout drug addict or whatever, but like being surrounded by those people making those decisions day in and day out, it became apparent to me where my life was going. It became apparent to me like I desire to hide from society. I desire to sleep in a tent wherever I want to any day of the week. I desire to live out of my car. You know, there was a stint of time, like it was about a 9-month period that I just lived in the Red River Gorge out of my car and woke up and climbed, woke up and hiked, helped wash dishes at Miguel's, and back when Miguel's was like not the new Miguel's that they have now.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It was just a bunch of those type of people, and and like that was, to me, it was so liberating. But I didn't realize in those moments that I was choosing the good seasons of the year to be in my car. You know, it was selective homelessness.
Sure.
It was
at a time when you had the wherewithal to have some choices.
Yeah, I didn't have kids. I didn't have any responsibilities. I was just me. You know, my mom and dad knew that I was done with high school. They knew that, you know, I was doing my thing, and you know, and they were busy providing for themselves, and I was on my own, and on my own meant whatever I wanted, you know, like completely on my own. So anyways, I find that in that desire to be unplugged from society, the pulling down effect of the alcoholism and the drugs became suffocating to me and the people that I hung out with and that I couch surfed with. Because the more times that I'd find myself hanging out at people's houses and crashing on their couches, it was just, well, a drunk fest of people partying, and I'm here just literally trying to find a place to sleep, but yet people are, you know, partying all night long, and I'm not finding any sleep, and then that kind of led to me dropping out of college. I was still trying to balance like college and this kind of lifestyle, like, you know, and
have both at the same time. Somehow.
Yeah, have my cake and eat it too, or whatever. And then I full on dropped out of college, and I found like I just wanted to get away from everybody and everything around here, and I just drove. No, actually, I didn't drive. I caught a ride with a buddy up to Louisville, and I found myself living under the Watergate Bridge. And yeah, like
I bet there's a lot of people that are just listening
that don't even know that about me,
and that are thinking, how could someone who seems so put together as you do, and you know, I've seen you in the classroom setting, and you are put together,
yeah,
and you are on top of things, and so here you were sleeping under
a bridge.
What
freezing
then?
To death, man. What then? Fear. That was the most scared. I thought I was going to be free. I thought I was going to be away from everything, and, you know, away from just all the drugs and the problems that I saw my friends going into, and away from the responsibilities my parents wanted me to do, and the responsibilities that society and the norms of my, you know, all my friends were, you know, juniors in college, and, you know, choosing their mate, like really defining their major, and
they're having real lives, and you're sleeping under a bridge.
And I'm here under a bridge,
yeah.
And the people I'm around are like real deal homeless people, like scary dudes, like, but they all had stories, they all had lives, they all had some pain. It was amazing to me looking back on it. Each and every one of them had a core pain, and just a core like hurt, a falling out, a Greek tragedy per se, like a moment in their life that just like drove the last stake into their heart and drove them into wherever they were at that time.
Wow, what a picture!
Yeah, it was
of the internal struggle of man.
Yeah, and you sit there and you listen to them. And I remember I was around this barrel one night, just trash burning to keep us warm. A night kind of like this, but without these comforts. You know, I say comforts because like you know, we were under a bridge, and like if you knew the good spots, and like I was fresh meat, like I was this cute little 20-something-year-old, and I kept my back covered. Like I stayed near this old dude that I was friends with, and I helped him pick up cans, and he protected me pretty much. And I was sitting around this barrel with this old dude, and he looked at me, and he just out of nowhere took his hand and backhanded me in the face, just boom. And I went, what the heck was that? Probably not heck. And I mean, like, looked at my lip, and there's blood coming to it, and I was like, what in the world? And he said, boy, I want you to run as fast as you can. And I'd better never catch you under this bridge again, or I'll kill you. He said, you got more in your life. He said, I've listened to you talk. I've listened to you dream. He said, take it from me. This is all I got. He said, you got more. You need to make something out of your life. He said, I love you. Don't you let me catch you under here again. And I left right there, and I called one of my buddies, and I was like, yo, I need you to pick me up. He's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm in Louisville. And he's like, dude, I'm going to need a minute. And I was like, no, dude. I was like, I need you now. So he came and he got me, and he pulled on the side of the street, and I remember him looking around right through me. And I'm like, and he was like, oh my God. He's like, get in, dude. And I got in and I sat down.
He didn't even recognize me.
Didn't even recognize me, man. My hair, back then my hair was long. It was in a ponytail. Like I was scraggly, dude. I was scraggly. And he was like, Zoe, what in the world? And I was like, we got a long drive, I'll talk. So the whole way back, I just kind of spilled it to him, and he just kind of started talking about God. And I mean, I grew up in church and grew up hearing the transformative grace and hearing about the love of Jesus, and blah 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 blah. And then my mind at the time was blah 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 blah. Sure. That's all it was. Yeah. But in that moment, combined with what I had just been through, and the homelessness that I had spent, it was only like about 3 months. I mean, right now to this day, like the time that I spent under that bridge, I don't even really know how long it was. I think it was 3 to 4 months, max 6 months. It could have been 3 days. I mean, honestly, because it was so traumatic. It was so scary. But I remember absolutely that drive back. I remember that hour and 30 minutes. I remember what it felt like to hear him talking about the love of Jesus and how like Christ really can come in and change. And I was like, I desire that. Like I truly am desiring that right now. And I want to change. So then sparks the catalyst to inspire me to change, to inspire me to become the put together 5th grade teacher that I am. And it gave me this desire and this like insatiable rush to learn as much as I could. I mean, I graduated Asbury with a 3.98 GPA, and you
dropped out of college prior to that.
And I did it with a baby. I did it with a newborn and working 45 hours a week. I slept an average of an hour and a half a night. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, if I got 2 hours of sleep in a given night, I was rested. and I did this for 3.5 years. And like, even looking back on it now, it was that guy like looking me in the soul and saying, you are wasting your God-given talents. And then now that I'm a teacher and I got 3 kids at home and a loving wife, and I'm thinking, like today in this meeting, this lady was talking about homelessness, and I just thought about it, and I was like, the fear.
This is a school meeting.
It was a school meeting, yeah, and I don't know what I can really share, or if I'm kind of stepping out.
Sure, but it has to do with the school environment. They talk about homelessness at school and to the teachers. And
here's the thing: is I think we should share more about that meeting to the public. I think families need to know that getting identified as homeless is not a bad thing. It's not a stigma. The teachers sure as heck don't look at the kids any different way. if anything, we want to make sure that we love on them more. I mean, not that we wouldn't already, but we want to make sure that we're very cognizant about giving them grace, very cognizant about making sure that they are going home with, you know, food bags and meal bags, the different programs that we do offer at Wilmore and the other Jessamine County schools. But now I know as a teacher, and I bet there's many people who are going to watch this that have no idea, the government HUD dollars, the housing dollars, only come to a district when there's identified students in homelessness. They won't give the dollars.
And Jessamine County receives HUD dollars.
We now do, but there was a time where we didn't because we didn't have identified kids.
Wow.
We had a large population that that weren't identified, and we were lacking the extra funding and the opportunity to get help. I mean, this lady was telling us she can help people pay, not necessarily pay a down payment or a deposit, but she can connect them with people to get the rent paid so they don't get kicked out, you know, keep their lights on, provide transportation to and from school, you know, get these kids what they need, dental care, medical assistance, you know, help them, you know, not necessarily have the shelter environment, but the Maslow's basic necessities, you know, like get them what they need, food, clothing, shelter. Yeah.
Definitely. And you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about, you know, you have a few, you know, you've interacted with students before who are in the midst of maybe a home insecurity, not quite sure where they're going to be staying next, and what that's like in the learning environment for them.
Oh man, you can just see it painted on their face, man. You can just, like, you're up there talking about dividing fractions. You know, like, you're up there talking about multiplying decimals and finding the volume. And, you know, little Jimmy or whatever, you know, it's completely not his name. Little Jimmy is over there sitting there thinking, where's my mom right now? You know, where am I going to go when I get out of school? And, you know, like, for a 10-year-old, like, that's not cool, man. Because I know how bad it sucks to not know where you're going to put your head.
Well, something I've known about you in the classroom, especially having a daughter in your class, is that you're a teacher that somehow teach quality education, yet also attune yourselves to the hearts of each of your students, and then try to tap into, okay, what's this kid's passion? But, like, I am so grateful to be a parent in a school system with teachers like yourself, and I know you're not, you know,
there's so many great
countless other teachers over at the elementary school and in Jessamine County, but that are seeking those needs or seeking to care for those children. I'm curious, what are some takeaways or some things that you would kind of encourage people that are watching to be doing in order to either be more aware or more helpful in dealing with either, you know, maybe they're a parent of a kid that is in that transitionary stage, or maybe just how to help with the homeless population in Jessamine County. That was a long question.
No, I'm with you. Here, if I could say, I'll answer that question in a couple facets. Facet number one is this: if you're a person that has the means to help out, volunteer your time to the tutoring organizations that go around to the schools and help these kids get extra homework help. You know, these kids, when they go home with the homework packet, you know, they got a mom and a dad who's grinding to keep things together, or they don't have a mom and a dad to do things with. I mean, they don't have a support network when they go home to do the extra help, and then they know when they get in school the next day, they're going to be dropping a clip, or they're going to get in trouble. Somebody's going to be beating them over the head because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. God knows they can't. You know, they don't have the means. So if you have the means, volunteer your time to go help these kids with their tutoring services. If you have the financial means, tap in with organizations that Andy knows, and Andy's group, and the other organizations in Jessamine County with the homeless, urban development, your program. What is it called?
Revive
Ministries. There's a ton of people out there that are asking for service and help and financial just benefit, just somebody to come alongside of them and like give them the capital, give them the resources, and give them the opportunity to go and use it. So that's facet number one, is if you can, do, be a verb, don't be a noun, be a verb. Facet number two is this: if you're a teacher and you have the opportunity, find that heart of that kid and nurture it in an entirely different way. I know we got test scores, I know we got mandates, I know we got stuff we got to keep up with or whatever, but educate that heart of that kid. As soon as we know and identify, we can't be bell ringers or whatever, because that provides a whole different amount of stressors for these families. But you guys know, y'all teachers know, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Just love those kids extra. Oftentimes they're the ones where you need to grab grace. Mm-hmm. So build up happy moments in your brain to where you can grab that happy moment when you need it, and understand that kid's wilding out and acting a fool because he's going through trauma. He's going through PTSD right now, and he's not. If you would ask that kid at 4 years old, hey, do you dream and aspire to be a homeless kid in 5 years and be flipping chairs in your classroom? No. He wanted to be a ninja. He wanted to be a knight. He wanted to be an astronaut. He wanted to be a race car driver. He doesn't want to grow up and be affected by homelessness and end up in prison. He doesn't want to see his mom and dad get divorced and fall into drug-induced comas. No kid desires that. Ezra tonight looked at me and said, "Dad, I want to be an artist when I grow up." And I'm like, heck yeah, man. Be an artist. But I'm there dreaming with him. These kids don't got people dreaming with them. So as teachers, man, we got to dream for these kids. Give them an opportunity to get pissed off, freak out a little bit, and come back and just be loved on. Because they need it. And then third facet, if you're dealing with homelessness, if you're dealing with the struggles, don't be shamed. Drop the shame game. This life is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I go paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go paycheck to paycheck a lot of times.
And I've heard stats that 40% of this nation can't come up with a $400 emergency.
We all got it.
Mm-hmm.
We all got struggles. So reach out, ask for help, drop the pride. Men out there, drop the pride. Get off the alcohol, get off the drugs. Own up and be a man for your family. Show your boys what needs to be done. Treat your ladies with respect in the household so these kids grow up seeing a dad treating a mom the way a lady should be treated. It's generational. This stuff isn't overnight. It's learned. It's learned abuse. It's learned drug dependency. It's learned negative mindsets. You got to learn a positive mindset mentality. You got to learn a drug freedom. You don't just get that given at birth. I mean, heck, the society has so many barriers built up around that, yeah, it's easy to drop into a drug coma and say, I'm just gonna be a product of my environment. It's hard to stand up. But men out there, you got to stand up. You got to lace your boots a little bit tighter, stand up a little bit stronger, and reach out and grab the arms of your men around you and support one another. And then ladies out there, just be a mom. Love on your babies. Read books to them. Sing Twinkle Twinkle to them tonight. And just like that alone. And when you are identified as homeless, or you are identified as, losing your dependent status of a resident, reach out for a helping hand. I was talking to a friend of mine, Randy and Brian. We meet around a campfire every now and again and talk about the failures of being husbands and fathers. And I was like, sometimes I feel like, I'm looking at my feet and water's rising, and I'm like, look at me, I'm drowning. Like my finances are building up, medical bills are building up, the rent's getting, here, and I feel like all these pressures and stressors are rising up. And then I look around and I'm like, oh, Andy's in it too. Oh wait, Brian's in it too. Wait a minute. We're all in this to do. We're all right here. We're all drowning.
And so often when we look like this, we
you
just feel like
see
it's
anybody.
Our fault. It's my
me.
fault, and I can't do it. And
yeah, and I think that alone just, it's a big task, but like it's not gonna change unless we try.
Dude, man, I love how your heart just comes out when you start talking about these things.
I can't help it.
And I mean, you are just such a perfect example of someone who came out of a situation that was difficult, and you've shared stories before about how sometimes you weren't even treated fairly or kindly by community, and so you responded in a negative way, and you went down a dark path, and yet somehow the Lord got a hold of you.
Yeah.
As well, you made this, a homeless guy hit you up the side of the head and said, you are on the edge of darkness, my man. Turn right now and run.
And turn,
and
I did.
And then here you are teaching kids, and because of your past, you are able to see. You're more keenly aware of others that are on the edge, and you're able to inspire them to rise. I
appreciate that.
And
appreciate that, man.
Thanks for sharing tonight.
Yeah, thank you. And I thank you for recording, and I hope you all out there watching it, and I could say thank you for watching.